Marvel right now, the MCU is back on a generational run. We got Thunderbolts. We got
Ooh,
Fantastic Four. We got,
very good.
oh my God, why am I blanking? The Yaya show.
Wonder Man.
Thank you. We got Wonder Man. And we got Daredevil Born Again season 2 that has been
Yep.
absolutely fantastic. And what really put the cherry on top of the cake was episode 4 this
Yes.
past Tuesday. And it came in a big, bad way. And we're going to get into it because I have been waiting to get into this with someone for a very long time. And Cece, you were supposed to be here and get into this too. What are you doing,
Hey,
girl? You got to
what's up,
get on your
CC?
camera and mic and hop on it. But I can't
No,
wait to
trust
get
me,
into
CC's
this.
exhausted. She just moved her entire life to a
Oh,
new
I know.
apartment.
She told me. Yeah.
I'm
She
giving
told
away
me.
all of her business. My
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. What
But
is
yeah.
her social security and what is her address? No, I'm just kidding. um, no, we miss you, CC, but we're glad you're here in the chat for the conversation because we are going to get into Daredevil Born Again season 2, episode 4,
Mhm.
which, in my opinion, has put Born Again back in the conversation of the level of the Netflix series, if not maybe a little bit better in some parts. Overall impression of episode 4, season 2, Daredevil. Kenny, what did you think?
Best episode of the season by far. This was a tour de force in performances from literally everyone involved. I'm talking about best performances from the gentleman who plays Bullseye to Matt Murdock to Kingpin, especially, and Vanessa. Like all of our core four, incredible in this episode. The opening scene in the diner was just like this
Was
is
that good? No,
this
I'm
is
just it's like the best, one of the
this
best cold opens of a superhero show that I think I've ever seen.
my man got killed with a lobster. A
I
lobster.
know.
I
Made
loved
me
it, man. But
hungry.
yeah, but yeah. Pardon me. I still got the bronchitis. But
No
yeah,
worries.
I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. Not just for I enjoyed this episode for a couple of reasons. Daredevil is best when Matt is dealing with multiple complicated issues at the same time. He hates Fisk, wants justice for Fisk, probably wants to kill Fisk, but his morals won't allow him to. But even though he wants Fisk dead, he doesn't want someone else to kill Fisk because he doesn't believe anybody should be killing anybody else. But now he has to stop Bullseye from killing somebody without killing Bullseye and also trying to not kill Kingpin while still being pissed at
Oh my
Kingpin.
God.
This is where Matt is best at. And it's also where Kingpin is best at because he's trying to balance his marriage and what's best for his marriage with what's his ambitions are for taking over. Yo, this I don't even remember if this line was from this episode, but when Vanessa asked Kingpin like you have the world, like how much is enough? It's like how many worlds are there? I'm like, bro, this
Yeah.
is
Not this
insane.
episode, but I think that
Yeah,
was a conversation. Do you remember the last episode when they were in bed and there was the
yeah.
juxtaposition of Karen and Matt in bed and
Hmm.
then Vanessa and Kingpin in bed,
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Hmm.
it was like it was
Yeah.
just, I think it just speaks to the overall production, the way
Yep.
that it's shot, the way that the story is told, where
Yes.
we are seeing that, and the homage to the original comics. These three people, Bullseye, Kingpin, and Daredevil, are tied to each other in a
Yes.
big bad way. And
Yes.
for the longest time, we never got that. We got it a little bit in season 3 of the original Netflix series of Daredevil, but it wasn't like how it is now, where it's like no, these three are tied to each other, whether they like it or not. Their
Mm-hmm.
fates are tied to each other. And it's so interesting to see now the dynamic of what you were saying, where Matt has this dilemma where Bullseye killed Foggy, but he also just saved his
That's it.
life. But he
Mm-hmm.
also regrets it and says, what that woman made me do. And he's like, don't say Foggy's name. You just see like the complexity of all these characters
Yep.
and all the things that they've been to. For better or worse, they are tied to each other. And whatever happens ends with these three in a big bad way. And we are just ramping up to something epic that we are going to see. And you best believe the way that this writing has gone, we are in for maybe one of the best seasons of comic book TV episode or series in history, in my
Totally
opinion.
agree. Like the I
Like,
think one of the best seasons of comic book television before this was probably season 3 of Daredevil on Netflix, when the very
oh man, start back. The very
in the very last episode, it ended in that triple threat match with between Kingpin and Bullseye and Daredevil, where Kingpin broke Bullseye's back. You know, and all of that was going on, and Daredevil forces Kingpin to quit. And we think that Fisk is done after that, but they come back in a big bad way, as you said. And yeah, man, I'm excited to see where this goes. One of the things I'm most excited about. Are we good? Okay. One of the things I'm most
the
excited
suspense
about
is killing me.
with this season is the fact that I have no idea where it's going. Right? I can't predict
Same.
what the next thing is going to be. I'm not even entirely sure Vanessa's dead. Vanessa could be dead, and next episode, Kingpin could boot up the super collider like from
Across.
into the Spider Verse and try to go get another Vanessa. We don't know what's happening, so I'm really excited to see what the next step in this is. And I think my only trepidation in wondering whether or not this is leading to a death is because the last thing that we saw Vanessa talking about was
The
her
mayor.
possibly running for mayor.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry. I'm
I'm
sorry. It
kind of
was
like,
to the governor. To the governor. She was
yeah, to
like,
the
I'll do
government,
it. She was like, I'll do it for you because I believe in
right?
you. But that's the only reason why. And now, if
And like,
she's out of the picture, you don't have
yeah,
the governor's backing. It can domino effect Kingpin's whole operation of what he's going to use Red Hook for. So
yep,
it's just such master storytelling that everything is connected. And if a
yep,
domino goes down, we are going to see the ripple effects of that. And Dario, the showrunner of it, he is just so good at keeping everything connected within
yep.
its own little pockets, including mini Kingpin and
Oh, that's
BB.
the
Like,
thing.
there's
Yeah,
just all these moments that are just like something is going to happen in a big bad way, and I'm just like on the edge of my seat, like what does this mean for this person? But I do want to get back to Vanessa.
hmm,
In your opinion, do you think that she did bite the bullet glass shard bullet in
I
the
want to be
end,
honest with
or is
you.
she,
That don't look deep enough for me to
that's
like.
what she said?
Yeah, I know, right? That don't look like you know.
So you
It's
you in your opinion, you don't think so?
it looks like it hurts. It looks like it would knock you out. You would probably pass out from that kind of thing, but it's inconclusive at most. We'll find
Okay.
out in 2 days, but I don't know if I believe that she's gone. It would be a powerful move for this show for her to be gone because of what we know Kingpin would do. I don't even think Kingpin would care about being mayor anymore. I think he would just start murking
It
everybody.
would be
Right? It
over.
would
It would be
it would be bad.
over for
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
I also love what Cece's saying because I feel like the
Mm,
trepidation with Daredevil killing Kingpin, at some point, you're gonna have to make a decision, like a real
yeah,
decision, because We've seen it for almost 5 seasons now with our Daredevil that
Yeah.
he won't kill him. Even at the end of season 3, the amazing "I beat you" scene where he takes off his mask and he's like, "I beat you," which is
Mm-hmm.
arguably one of the best performances moments that
Yo, yeah,
Charlie Cox has given as Daredevil. Um,
absolutely.
he keeps beating him, but he doesn't put him away for good. And then Kingpin keeps getting away, keeps weaseling his way in to gaining more power and becoming more untouchable. So at
Right.
what point is Matt Murdock, Daredevil, going to say, no, I need to put
Enough
him
is
down.
enough.
This is the
Yeah.
moment. And if he does put it down and give that Punisher energy, CC,
Hmm.
does it change the character completely?
I think there is a. I think that there is a good story that could come from it, from him snapping and killing Kingpin,
Mm-hmm.
or
And the
who
story
he
is,
actually.
no, it cut out.
Oh, yeah. I think there's a good story where he actually has to search for who he is as a person after something like that happening. Because I think that Matt would feel that way if he accidentally killed Kingpin. So if he intentionally did it, it would be even worse, right? So I
Yeah,
think that there is a dynamic story to tell there.
100%.
Um, it does it doesn't necessarily have to change the character completely, but it gives a bit of depth to the character. To me,
Something else to wrestle with.
if Matt kills Kingpin, right, I think that he would wrestle with that guilt, and that it would prevent him from any ever killing anybody ever again. Right? I think that that would be kind of the reminder. He would see Kingpin's face in his dreams all the time. If no, he wouldn't. Does he know what Kingpin's face looks like? So, so yeah,
You would
he would
hear
hear
his voice.
Kingpin's
You would hear
voice.
his voice in the dreams. Yes.
Yeah.
The voice would
So
haunt his dreams.
right.
It haunts
So
mine already.
yeah. Oh man,
That
Vincent
voice.
D'Onofrio is amazing in this role.
Oh
But
my
yeah, so
God.
I think that it would just bring more depth to the character, make the character even more human in a sense. But yeah,
Yes.
and also make some really interesting conversations with Frank. So I would be all for that. This is a hilarious image. It's like just on his face, it's just funny. Not that the situation was funny, but he's in a boxing ring with a gun and looking to the side. It just looks hilarious. But yeah, this is a really yeah.
I want to get into this moment because it really put this whole episode put Daredevil Born Again on another level. It was cinematic in so many ways. It kept you on the edge of your seat. There was multiple fight scenes. There was multiple smaller moments of just talking that pushed the story forward. It was such a master class of putting so much in an episode without feeling overstuffed. And I absolutely loved it. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the way that they ended it, hold on, I saw you got a thing popped in the head.
Mm-hmm.
The way that they ended it, it was just so cinematic with the bullseye situation coming. First off, the boxing scene was brutal as all heck, and people are
Yep.
loving it, which is a total metaphor of the world that we live in today, that people ignore violence when they're in love with someone so much that they feed off of it, that they love it. This guy got murdered pretty much in the ring,
I
and
could
people are like,
stand
yeah, go Trump. I mean, go Fisk. It was like,
I could
it
stand
was
in the
like,
middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody. Is a direct quote. I could stand in the middle
hello.
of Fifth Avenue and
Yeah,
shoot somebody.
my fumbles are on purpose if you didn't tell.
Mhm.
But
But yeah.
it, this episode had so much in it, and at no point did it feel overstuffed. From the beginning of the fantastic opening with Bullseye that established him as one of the best MCU villains that we've seen thus far, to
Absolutely.
the fight between him and Daredevil, to the moment where BB and Tony Soprano Jr. are going to the club and, get the chip in his pocket and all this little stuff that's building up to a bigger story that we're about to see, to
Yep.
the ultimate climax with the boxing scene, and then Bullseye comes in and Daredevil jumps out the window, and they see what's his name, the Watcher, I guess people are saying that, but it was so much in so many ways, and it never felt like it was overstuffed. It felt like it was so fluid and so purposeful with the storytelling, that this is a masterclass in how you tell a comic book TV series, nay, a great TV series.
Yeah.
And my Siri went on when I said nay. I don't know. Take us away, Kenny. What was the moment that popped in your head? I know I talked a lot.
No, like you actually.
Uh-oh, you're frozen. You're frozen, my friend. Hello? Kenny? No! Kenny! My brother! Oh, damn, he really is frozen. He really, really is. CC, if you were here, we could have been talking while Kenny came back in. Kenny, do you want to restart it?
Back.
Welcome back.
That's my jam.
That's what I was singing to you before cameras rolled. And I was like, does he not know Mace? I thought I was.
Do I not know Mace? Mace was my favorite. Anyway, but yeah, so what you were saying, you actually brought it up with the brutality of the boxing match and how people were cheering it on, and I'm looking at it like this is young man. Not now. This is brutal. Like I was like, you see the blood splatter, the blood is getting into the crowd. People are still cheering. BB sitting there like, y'all don't see this? Y'all don't see this? As well as
we were all BB.
Right. We're all BB. We're all the young lady who works for him. I forget what her name is, but like one of the assistants that he has, the political assistants, she was also looking around like, oh, all these people are clapping. Sheila, yeah. So and it just becomes more and more brutal. He beats a man, maybe to death, shoots somebody, and now we need to see what the repercussions are, because also Vanessa is possibly dead. There's so much set up here for potential issues, and on top of that, you have a vigilante, Daredevil, running through this entire event, fighting against Bullseye, even buffering his point even more, allowing him to twist that situation into something to make get people on his side even more than they already were, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really interested in seeing where all this goes, because there's so much, our favorite word, nuance to this situation. Also, how many episodes is in the season? 8 or 4? 8. This is 8. A perfect midpoint. Perfect midpoint.
Exactly.
Yep.
As we mentioned in the beginning of this episode, we are going to have you guys, that's right, you guys be able to send in your takes, your theories, and your opinions, if it's related and respectful and appropriate, of course. And we have one that was sent in for this exact topic. Kenny, let's take a look at it and see what kind of theory we're messing with. Here we go. Let me know if you can hear it, okay? Are you ready?
Yep.
How's it going, guys? So I'm going to get right into it. I have a theory, all right? And in Daredevil Born Again Season 2, in the trailers and in the show, you hear Benjamin Poindexter, Bullseye, say that he wants to make things right? And in episode 1 or 2, Valentine DeFontaine, the leader of the New Avengers, aka the Thunderbolts, her name was dropped in the show. And it got me thinking, in 08 and 09, in the comic books, specifically the Dark Avengers comic books, Bullseye actually takes the mantle of Hawkeye. And the new Avengers, the Thunderbolts, is the MCU's adaptation of the Dark Avengers. So what if Wilson Bethel becomes our new Hawkeye? I don't know. Could happen.
Ooh, thank you, Chris, for sending in that theory. And I do have to say that Bullseye is now on the scene in a big bad way. And all I can say is absolutely.
Absolutely.
But we do have to give credit where credit is due. And Wilson Bethel is playing Bullseye like the character that we have always wanted to see on screen. And it is truly special to see. On top of that, what Chris is describing is very reasonable. There has been mentions now of Val. We know the Thunderbolts is a group of makeshift villains, if you will, that become, or anti-hero villains that become the new Avengers, if you will. And there was a moment in the comics where Bullseye becomes the new Hawkeye for the new Avengers. What do you think of Chris's theory of our boy Bullseye becoming maybe Hawkeye or a part of the Thunderbolts moving forward?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting theory. I would actually like to see it because I would love to see more dynamism, more dynamic storytelling in the MCU. Not to say that MCU storytelling isn't dynamic already, but this would be something that you would have to have watched the shows to really get an idea of like why that may be happening. And some people may see that as a hindrance. I see it as a reward for us for having watched everything. Right. So I would really like to. Who does he look? He looks like somebody in this picture, and I can't put.
I think
he
another
really
one.
does. He looks like
who are you thinking?
he looks like a villain from an '80s movie. But yeah, I'm trying to put my finger on it. But yeah, anyway, yeah. So I really would like to see that, and even here, he's not too far from a Hawkeye suit. He's not too far away from it at all. So I could see her having her own Hawkeye. Yeah.
I really like the theory. I really do. I could see that happening, and I would love the homage to the comics because that does happen in the comics. But I just love that Wilson Bethel is getting the recognition that he deserves because one, he's from the Bay, but two, this guy can act and he is fantastic in this role. Even when he's just acting with his eyes, they are so expressive. One of the biggest parts that stood out to me of Daredevil Born Again season 1 is the opening scene when they're in the stairwell and he's up at the stairwell and he's breathing and you can just see his eyes like really wide eyed. It was just such an iconic shot for me. And I really can't see anyone else playing this role like Wilson Bethel plays Bullseye. He born to play Bullseye, and he is pulling it off so well that by the end of this series, he will be up there with one of them ones as one of the best villains that we have seen on big or small screen. And he is showing us why from this episode 100%.
Agreed. I think some of us, I know Cece feels this way. I know I felt this way while watching it. Some of us may want Daredevil to kill Kingpin. I hope that he doesn't kill Bullseye because I want to see more of this character. I need to see more and more of this character. I don't want any of them to die because they're so great. But yeah, man, I think that he's such a dynamic character. And I think that he also has crossover potential. And what I mean by that, not just like in Thunderbolts, but he'd be a great Punisher villain. He'd be a great Spider-Man villain. Like he works so well against he would, oh my God, could you imagine a fight between him and Cap? Like Rogers. But yeah, like I would be ecstatic if we could see him interact
Yeah.
with more characters outside of Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
But
Fight
yeah,
with more
and
characters.
speaking, yeah, and I'm sure that you'll transition to this at some point. But with the Defenders kind of coming in, he might have some scenes with them as well.
Spoiler. No, I'm just kidding.
But
No,
yeah,
I
so
think
I'm looking
he
forward to that.
needs the best, one of the best parts about Bullseye in the comics is that he always pops up everywhere. He's always like a
Mhm.
thorn in someone's side at some point, namely Daredevil, which I think is
Yeah,
great. So if you kill this character, that will be a huge mistake. Do
huge.
not kill Bullseye, because right now
Yeah,
you have the makings of one of the best villains that we've seen in Marvel in a very, very long time. And to have him pop up here and there and have him continue to be that thorn in somebody's side, I think it would be a very big missed opportunity if you just put the nail in the coffin and got rid of him. So do not get rid of Bullseye by
yeah,
any means, and pay Wilson Bethel everything that he deserves, because he
everything.
has been doing this since like
Mhm.
2019, and he needs to
Yeah,
be cast in more things because he is a fantastic actor. So that's what I got to say on the matter. But let us know what you guys think. Did you see? Oh, and before I say that, because this is the crux of the entire segment, I think it is very safe to say, after seeing Daredevil Born Again, season 2, episode 4, that this is now on the par of the original Netflix series Daredevil, if not doing things a bit better in some ways. They have a bigger budget. It looks more cinematic. The fight scenes look a little bit more crisp, a little bit more intentional, a little bit more epic, if you will. And I feel like we are getting the Daredevil TV series that we always wanted from the Netflix series, and just up ramped it in a big bad way. And this is exactly the type of show that the character Daredevil deserves. And so
yeah,
I just had to put that in there because I really think we're back. We're
yeah. I would
back.
say two things to that. One, it's a miracle that the show is even happening right now. How impossible is it that a show on a different network that was working for Netflix actually ends
Yeah.
up on another platform with most of the same type of tone and everything. And maybe the first
Actors.
season
Yeah.
to me didn't feel as tight as the previous 3 seasons, but this
Yeah.
season it feels like a return back to form, especially for one specific reason. In this in the season before this, the CGI Daredevil fight thing did not look great. This season, we getting some practical. I saw Daredevil being pulled along, with the bayonets, and I was like, "Yo, this looks
Yep.
great again." So they've fully bought into the realism, or buying into the realism of the fights, as well as the character motivation. So I think that we're fully back to our to peak Daredevil for sure.
I'm so sorry. I completely forgot. Before we get off this topic, what I was saying before, is this the Watcher? Sorry. Is this the Watcher? Because this has gone crazy online. And when I showed it to my wife, she was like, "Oh my God," because we watch What If, Do you think this is an homage to the Watcher? Because this is a critical point in the timeline where Vanessa dies, right? This is the reason why Into the Spider-Verse, he's trying to get to another version of
Mhm.
Vanessa. So, in your opinion, do you think this is just a nice wink, or this is actually the Watcher watching a specific moment in time, a what's it called? One of those points in time,
Mhm.
a canon event, if
And
you will,
yeah,
for Kingpin and Daredevil, where Vanessa dies in this universe. What do you think?
Kevin Feige would have to write me a handwritten letter notarized by Bob Iger himself, to convince me that that's not the Watcher.
Ooh, that's a yes. You see it?
That's
see
the
what?
Watcher. Yeah,
That's the Watcher.
That's the Watcher, if you will. That is the Watcher. He's
100%.
watching for sure.
He's watching.
This is my first time seeing this image, and I'm like, I know when I see him, that's him. I see him watching. Yep,
I see him
that's
watching.
Yep,
somebody's watching me.
mm-hmm. No doubt
man.
about it.
Bring Jeffrey Wright into the MCU. Please.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That
he
voice, that presence, you need that man in the MCU immediately in a non-animated project. Please.
Yes. One of my favorite things is how they've incorporated the Watcher into things, and him just being like it brings a level of gravitas to any situation without him ever having to say a word. It's like, oh shit, we're in for something. Like it's going down. Yeah, and I love that.
I love him. I love it. I'm so glad I could show it to you on here. That's epic. All right, guys. Let us know what you guys think. Do you think that Daredevil Born Again episode 2 season 4 has now put this show on the same level as Netflix, if not better? And also, is that the Watcher? Drop a comment below and let us know your guys' thoughts.